Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about casino and gambling stocks. This section has been getting a lot of attention as it's been heating up recently. In this video we'll discuss 4 of the major gambling stocks and I'll give you my opinion on what are plays and what are passes. So the coronavirus has put a major damper on this industry. Anything casinos or hotels or travel related has just been crushed. This is the worst case scenario for those industries. In quarter 2, casinos were reporting a 90% drop year over year in revenue. And casinos have had to start furloughing employees, MGM furloughing as many as 18,000. This Rona has beaten the pulp out of the casinos. Many of these stocks are still down considerably from where they were back in March before the shutdowns. So right now, as people start to pick up traveling again, now might be the time to start looking at these stocks. I've picked out 4 stocks here today, 3 of my favorite and 1 less favorable, but we can compare and see which one is the best play. So let's go to the tale of the tape. First challenger, weighing in at a valuation of $34.9 billion, Las Vegas Sands! Sorry, I felt like I had to channel my inner Bruce Buffer as we talk about this competition and, Las Vegas related. Anyways, the second competitor in the blue corner, I'm just playing, is MGM, coming in with a valuation of $10.4 billion. And last but not least, coming in with a valuation of $16 billion is DraftKings. So first, when looking at these market capitalizations, it jumps off that Las Vegas Sands is the richest of the bunch. But surprisingly, DraftKings is second. Right now, they're just an online platform, while the rest of the bunch is physical casinos. Maybe investors are looking at this saying, hey, the travel restrictions doesn't apply to DraftKings. Well, the stoppage in sports did for some time, but now sports is back up and going, so investors are feeling pretty bullish about DraftKings. So now looking back at 2019 revenue, back when things were going as normal, Las Vegas Sands had $13 billion in revenue. Well, just a tad behind them was MGM at $12 billion. Already I know how similar these are in revenue, but yet Las Vegas Sands has over 3 times the valuation. Third, Wynn at $6 billion. Less, but still very fair for the market capitalization. And last, DraftKings at $323 million. Yeah, that's right, million. Well, the rest are billion-dollar-a-year companies. DraftKings still has a while to go, but yet they're still priced at this valuation, even bigger than Wynn and MGM. So looking at price per share, but if you look over the trailing 12 months, what incorporates some of these, about half the time from the Rona shutdowns, you can see Las Vegas Sands is around 4, which I'm comfortable with. But if you look at 2019 revenues compared to where the valuation of the company is today, it's more like in the 2.5 range. But then shifting over to MGM, it gets better. Right now is at 1.23. And if you look at 2019 revenue, what they could be performing at in a couple years once things are back to normal, with today's valuation, it's under 1. Incredible. And Wynn is right there as well, also under 2 price to sales. But then you look at DraftKings, whoa, we're talking about price to sell in the 40s. Talk about rich. And then taking a look at what they do on the bottom line, Las Vegas Sands around 2.7 billion, MGM around 2 billion, and 2019 wasn't the best year for Wynn bottom line, but still they were in the positive. Well, DraftKings has yet to turn a profit to date. So looking at the margins now, Well, Las Vegas Sands boasts the highest margin. MGM not too far behind at 16%. Well, Wynn is down at 2%. But in previous years before that, they were closer to the 10% mark. And yet, DraftKings negative still have yet to show a profit. So the last category I want to evaluate this bunch is how far they've fallen. We'll take a look at where they're priced now compared to their 52-week high. Both Las Vegas Sands and MGM are down about 38-39% from their highs earlier this year. Well, Wynn is down over 50% from where they were at before the coronavirus lockdowns. And last, DraftKings is down 40% from their 52-week high, which, crazy enough, was only like a couple of weeks ago. This stock has taken a much different trajectory than the other three stocks. At the time of the coronavirus shutdowns, this stock was around $10. Wall Street has been pouring in a bunch of money. You've got major investments in the stock from companies like Disney. There's been so much money pouring in this stock, and many people are speculating over the Supreme Court ruling in 2018, which is supposed to pave the way for legalization of online gambling. But in my opinion, there's too much speculation here. So much of what needs to happen is already being priced into the stock. And even if that happens, they're simply forgetting that there could be other competitors. It's not going to be DraftKings that has a monopoly on this space. That's what worries me about this stock. And if things go wrong, then you're going to see this stock just tank. I like this company. I think it could have a great potential in the future, but at this price, it's just ridiculous. I'd be interested in DraftKings if it fell under $20. Then I would be looking into it. Right now, it's just crazy speculation, and I'm not about that. So now we can cross off DraftKings from the list, and now get to the three casino stocks I really like. Coming in third, Las Vegas Sands. Now, Las Vegas Sands will be reporting earnings next week, so keep your eye out for that. Will be interesting to see what results they posted in the third quarter. Now, for those that don't know, Las Vegas Sands owns the Venetian and the Palazzo on the Las Vegas Strip. Some of the most exquisite, nicest hotels on the Strip. Absolutely beautiful buildings and casinos. Now, the name Las Vegas Sands may be misleading because a lot of their properties are actually in Macau, which is a special administrative region of China, similar to Hong Kong. For those of you that know Macau, this is the Las Vegas of the Orient. They have what's called the Cotai Strip. And Las Vegas Sands, they own this Cotai Strip. They have 6 casinos on the Cotai Strip. And we've seen in Macau, they're still lagging behind. In September, Macau casinos reported a 90% drop in revenue year over year. Now, we were hearing this in the second quarter, but it will be interesting to see how much the casinos have recovered over the third quarter in the US. But Macau in September is still showing this massive drop off. Now, back to the properties. Las Vegas Sands properties are top of the line 5-star luxury resorts. They also own casinos in other parts of the world too, and perhaps their most famous hotel is the Singapore Sands Hotel. This property is out of this world. It is one of the most awe-inspiring places that I've ever seen in my life. You walk in, it feels like a mall, but more like an attraction, and it's has beautiful views of the Singapore skyline, an amazing rooftop with infinity pools and luxury restaurants, and this place is just a paradise in a beautiful metropolis of Singapore. This is a one-of-a-kind resort. I am impressed with Las Vegas Sands' business model. These luxury resorts and also a margin of 20%. I overall rate this business model a 4 out of 5. Now, rating their balance sheet, I'm less impressed. They have less cash compared to MGM and Wynn, but over 3 times the valuation. And they also have the weakest current ratio. So considering this high valuation, I'm a little scared off by the balance sheet. I'd rate the balance sheet 2 out of 5. Now let's talk valuation. At a price to sales of 4 and a PE ratio around 20, this is the richest valuation compared to MGM and Wynn. So I'll rate this valuation 3 stars. So the last metric I'm going to look at is growth potential. Now, Las Vegas Sands stock hasn't been beaten down as bad as a few of the other stocks, but I still see room to grow, and I think this stock could hit 70 by 2022, but that's still a far way out, and I don't see as high of growth potential as Wynn or MGM, so that's why I'll give growth potential 3 stars here. And coming in second, well, before we reveal that, make sure to hit the like button. Now coming in second is Wynn Resorts, ticker symbol WYNN. Now those of you that watch Jeremy's channel at Financial Education, well, he's been pumping this stock, and is right, he should. This is a good stock. Again, just like Las Vegas Sands, their properties are exquisite. Now, if I had big money and I was going to Las Vegas, I would choose to stay at the Wynn Casino. And how can you fault their business model? They cater to high-end clientele with deep pockets. And just like Las Vegas Sands, they have a lot of casinos in Macau and on the Cotai Strip. Now Wynn has a lot going for it, but there are a few things I don't like about Wynn. First, their location in Las Vegas, as beautiful as it might be, it's way out on the other end of the strip. It's like the last thing. And if you're staying like near the center, you have to walk quite a distance to get there. So it's kind of separated. Again, back to their margins. As we demonstrated earlier in this video, they're razor thin compared to MGM and Las Vegas Sands. Now, yeah, they were closer to 10% in previous years, so that can definitely improve once things get back to normal. But their performance hasn't been as strong as some of the others. And that's why I'll rate their business model 3 stars. With a price to sales ratio below 2, and while their PE ratio might be high in the 60s, if they were to improve that 2% margin to, let's say, like a 10% margin like they've done in the past, then you're looking at a PE ratio under 20, and that's pretty fair. And I would give this 5 stars, but when you compare this to MGM seems like a steal at that, so I'm going to give Wynn 4 stars here. So now let's get to what I love about Wynn. It's their balance sheet. They have almost $4 billion in cash. I mean, you're talking about a valuation of $7 billion and they have $4 billion in cash. Not to mention the amount of assets they have and these beautiful properties around the world. You gotta love that. You can't beat that. And their current ratio is the highest amongst their competitors. You have to love this. It makes you feel so safe about Wynn. I mean, the coronavirus could continue on next year and like 2 years, and this company is going to be fine because they have the cash to handle it. This, I feel, makes me feel pretty safe in this position. That's why I'm giving their balance sheet 5 stars. And last, let's look at growth potential. Remember, this is the most beaten down of the bunch, so it still has more room to grow. I expect Wynn to consistently outperform expectations in 2021. And coupled with that, I expect an extremely strong back half of 2021, recovering to close where they were before coronavirus. And in 2022, I expect them to exceed where they were at. Now, I think this stock is definitely a good play to 2x over the next 2 to 3 years. and possibly even go over 200. The one thing that makes me a little nervous about this stock is its exposure in Macau, not knowing with the whole China tensions, what could happen there. And also, they're less diversified. But yeah, with that, I would still say growth potential is a 5 out of 5. Well, it was close, but still, undefeated, undisputed champion, MGM! Yeah, back to Bruce Buffer. Yeah, MGM, it has been beaten down. It got down as low as $5, and it's recovered, and man, I wish I would have bought it there, but I'm buying it now. So let's start with the business model and jump into their portfolio. Well, they're spread across all over the place. They're all around the world. They're in, just like Las Vegas Sands and Wynn, they're in China and Macau. They're spread all over the United States. They're in New York, they're in Michigan, they're in Mississippi, they're in Massachusetts, they're in Ohio, and that's just a start. Then you go to Las Vegas. Well, they got the MGM Grand, they have the MGM Park, they have New York, they run the Bellagio, they have the Mirage and Mandalay Bay, and yeah, they have other properties too, like Excalibur and Luxor. I mean, these guys own the Las Vegas Strip. And they might not have the same clientele as Wynn, but this is where the people go. This is where I go. It's the people that, you know, get those $59 airfares and cram on to their Spirit Air flight. You know, the people, man. This is where the people go. Although they're not catering to the high-end clientele, hey, what's the bad thing? I mean, they're catering to 90% of the people that are going to Las Vegas. Not only do they have all these casinos, but they also have the T-Mobile Arena. So if you do want to see that guy Bruce Buffer and him intro Conor McGregor in the fight of the year, you can go to their sporting arena at the T-Mobile Arena. But that's not it. Now let's talk about the little thing that might put them over the top. Aside from the casinos, yeah, they have that thing that DraftKings has. They've developed a sports book, and right now they're in 8 states. And just like DraftKings, they're trying to work it out and get it across the nation. They're in the same states essentially that DraftKings are at. And I live in Indiana where they've approved these online sports books, and I've checked out their site. It's not bad. As someone that used to bet a little bit on sports, I would have used this back in the day. So you're investing in the company that already has these casinos that have proven that they can make all this revenue, and you get this little carrot on top that could be exactly what DraftKings want to be. I mean, this stock is a steal in my opinion. And then you go back and you look at the margin of 16%. Well, I would give this almost 5 stars, but we're going to give this business model overall rating of 4 stars. So now let's look at the valuation. And you're talking of a price to sales ratio of around 1, and then looking at 2019 revenue at under 1, and a PE ratio of 5. This is a steal. I mean, this company was making great margins before. And that carrot on top of what potentially could come from their sports book online, this valuation is 5 out of 5. Next, jumping over the balance sheet, I give it 4 stars, but this could easily be 5 as well. You look, they got almost $5 billion in cash. I mean, again, just like Wynn, they're valued at $10 billion, and they got $5 billion in cash. I mean, they could weather this storm. This coronavirus could get even worse, and they can weather that. They have a current ratio of 2.5. They're in strong, healthy financial shape. And then finally, growth potential. Now, this stock hasn't been beaten down as bad, but I still see high potential for this stock to 2x over the next few years. I opened up a position last week in MGM, and I'm looking to buy the stock, anything under 25, and I'm looking to buy. I see as these casinos are reopening and travel's beginning to pick up, I can see this stock getting back to its highs near the end of 2021 and pushing upwards of $40 in 2022. But then if the sports book hits it big and the stock starts taking a trajectory like you saw with DraftKings, where you got all this money flowing in because you got this online platform that people don't have to travel to the casinos to place bets, well then this stock could really start to gain momentum and push maybe like $60, $70 a share if that sports book hits it big. So essentially I'm getting what DraftKings has, but a different product without the risk. This is why I feel this stock is a home run, and I'm super bullish, and I'm going to keep buying. And hey, it's looking like the cases are picking up, so the price of this stock could stay at bay for the next few months, and I'm prepared to keep buying and build out a position here. I always recommend you do your own research and homework on the stock and not just trust some random person on YouTube, but this is my opinion. And if you guys like this video, please consider subscribing or go comment down in the section. I'll read it and give me your thoughts on what you think the best casino stock is. Thank you guys.